everybody. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a fabulous holiday weekend and is stuffed full of turkey. Or if you're not in the United States, I hope you just had a great weekend. So this is going to be a really interesting stream because this is one of the few times that I've done a stream instead of doing a standalone video. I'm really concentrating on the live streams. I really want December is going to be turning over a new leaf. So I didn't want to delay it, but because I didn't do Movie Math yesterday because it was a holiday weekend. To be honest with you, under normal circumstances, I would have done a standalone video about Florence Pugh. Pew, pew, pew. You can't not say it. As Black Widow going to Disney Plus on several shows. But it'll be fun because you'll get to see me do a live version of this. And then also I want to tell you a couple of stuff about how scoops work. But let me first greet the people who joined during the stream. If you joined during a live stream, you get a shout out. Even if you rejoin, like Caesar Coronado. Welcome back. Hey, Mr. Pat55, welcome to the party. Let's see here. Cole Chester, nice to have you here. Let's see. I think that's everybody. Oh, Tony White. That's a cool spelling on both those things. Let's see. Vindor. Welcome, Vindor. And I think there was one more. Lecky May. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I did not. So anyway, if you join throughout the stream, I will take a moment and welcome you. Also, if you're looking for maximum interactiveness, at the end of the stream, there's 10 minutes of Ask Me Anything. So if you're a member, that's where you really have a chance to shine. So awesome fun times. All right, everybody, so welcome. Thank you for joining me for a live stream. Let me mark the first story because this is first story related. Hold on. Boop. All right, so yes, I appreciate you using a different language in here, but I can't read that. So anyway, I guess you were saying hello. All right, so anyway, let me tell you a little bit how scoops work. So these days, as I'm sure you've noticed, particularly on the old Twitter, there's lots of scoops, right? People, I've heard this, I've heard that, and I'm really flattered that so many of you, trust me to tell you what's really happening. And I think that the difference is, I wouldn't say that anyone else is nefarious, okay? I think the difference is that a lot of other places are scoop reliant. Like if they don't report scoops, what are they going to do? And so they really need to get stories. They really need to get leaks. Whereas my business is not based solely on scoops. So I don't need to report a scoop if a scoop is not there. So I try very, very hard to check it. No one is 100%, but I think that my track record is certainly as strong as the best of the bunch. And again, I'm not motivated by trying, despite what some of my haters might say, it actually is not something that I do for, there's no clicks involved. And I just love discussing movies with you. And I know that you guys want to be involved in the development process. That's a real roller coaster. Some things that are discussed never happen, right? If you don't want to be if you really are like, if I don't see it on screen, I don't want to know about it. Well, then you should only watch movies and TV shows when they come out, and you have no business following the rumor mill and the scoop stuff. Patrick, that's very nice of you to ask how I get the tea. I have a number of sources that I'm very fortunate that trust me, but I can't really discuss it in detail. That's very nice of you to ask. That's one thing I can't discuss. But just so you know how I view scoops, all right? So if I hear a rumor or I know something's developing, I will tweet about it. Twitter is where I'm the loosest. Twitter is, where I want to talk to you guys, where I want to share exciting stuff that's happening. And I tell, Twitter is like where you know what I know, basically, if I feel I can share it. That's what Twitter is for. So please, if you don't follow me on Twitter, head on over there and follow me. Now, if I'm and often I will announce something on Twitter and it'll filter into my videos, right? Now, when I'm like 110% positive about something, then I will make a video, right? Like, unfortunately, one of the times where something I reported did not happen, again, I've explained to you that it was something that was tested by Disney they did a couple of Spider-Man Far From Home test endings. And one, they digitally put in an Oscorp tease, in the construction zone. And so it didn't make it into the final movie. That's why I never made a video about it. And also the other thing is that sometimes, like, I'll talk about tea and I'll make a video about it. And sometimes people aren't interested on YouTube, which is really interesting. YouTube and Twitter are different audiences. I've made some Black Adam videos where I was able to predict as early as anyone, and in some cases the first, I was, giving you the lineup for Black Adam, right? No one ever, like, my haters, of course, obviously don't remember when I'm right most of the time because they're haters. But those videos didn't do particularly well because people aren't really into Black Adam, unfortunately. Maybe when people start seeing Black Adam stuff, they'll be a little bit more into it. But just so you know, that's how it works. On Twitter, you're like getting everything that I know. Twitter is like, where, again, I'm sharing everything I hear from you that I know is true. And that's where it's going out there, right? If I make a video, it's been confirmed by a trade, or I'm like 110% positive. And on this Black Widow thing, I usually would have made a video, to be honest with you. Again, this is something that would have been a video, just so you know. This usually would have been a video. I'm that solid on it. It comes from a very, very strong source. And so but again, I'm really committed to the live streams. So I wanted to have a live stream today. All right, let's do it. As I was doing my notes, I was like, damn, this could have been a video. All right, maybe it still will. Let's see if I get any more additional information, I will tell you. My source was not able to tell me how Florence Pugh's Black Widow, or Yelena, factors into the story. If I knew that, I would have made a video. So this is what's going on. So this morning, MCU Direct, which doesn't usually have scoops, so that's just good. There are a lot of loose lips in Hollywood these days. I don't think that studios work hard enough to lock this stuff down. Like, some places shouldn't be getting scoops. Like, sometimes you're like, how did that person get that? That's absolutely nuts. How did that person? It's just crazy. You're like, it's a little bit like, come on, guys, get your house in order. So anyway, though, with all due respect, MCU Direct broke the story that Florence Pugh's Black Widow is going to be in Hawkeye. Like, for instance, I'll tell you on a side note, this Rogue in Captain Marvel 2, no legitimate sources confirmed that. I bring it up because I saw it in YouTube recommendations, like when I was checking YouTube over the weekend, and I was kind of annoyed that some people were still making videos about that and it was doing well. I was annoyed for two reasons. One, no legitimate source is confirmed. Like, no legitimate scooper even a semi-legitimate scooper has said that Rogue is going to be the villain in Captain Marvel 2. So I'm pretty annoyed about that. Second, I feel that story just has traction because people want to get rid of Brie Larson. And while I think that Brie Larson is not the best Captain Marvel, and it will forever be a mistake they didn't hire Charlize Theron, I don't think that Brie Larson is a bad Captain Marvel. She's just not like an optimal Captain Marvel. She's like an okay Captain Marvel. It's too early to take Captain Marvel off the board. And if Rogue enters the chat, Captain Marvel's going to have to take a break. It's just too early. It's a similar conversation that we had when we talked about, this is the beauty of the live stream. Massive tangents. So it's like when we used to talk about the fact that Shuri couldn't be Black Panther for a long time because there's no way that Chadwick Boseman would be put on the bench. And then tragically he passed away and Shuri got moved up significantly. So that's the situation. Brie Larson's got some Captain Marvel stuff left in her, so I think Rogue is never say never. Rogue could suddenly show up in Captain Marvel 2, but I really don't see it happening because it would totally take Captain Marvel off the board. And you know what? Speaking of how poorly Captain Marvel is cast, I think it's one of the few times that Kevin Feige cast an actor without the help of a director. And I think he really messed up on it. I think, again, Kevin, I agree. Brie Larson has grown on me too. I enjoy Brie Larson, but I don't think she has the same energy that any of the original Avengers have, or Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. That's basically the situation. So we'll see. All right, although I would love to see an MCU Rogue. I'd love to see an MCU Rogue. I'd love to see an MCU Storm. All the characters that they didn't get right over at Fox, I would love to see Kevin Feige do right. Oh, by the way, Max, I will tell you some tea. All right, I'll tell you some tea. So another scooper was hinting that Lady Gaga had been in consideration for a Marvel role, right? So I was talking to my source and I was like, what is going on here? What is this? And they said, oh, well, Lady Gaga was in contention for Clea in Doctor Strange too, but she turned it down. But if she was in contention for Clea, that means Emily Blunt is not playing Clea, and that underscores what I'm hearing, and that they're going to bring in other versions of the Avengers, and that maybe Emily Blunt will show up as Black Widow. So that's pretty interesting to me. Again, this isn't solid enough that I can make a video about it, but these are the pieces that I'm putting together in my head. And so I'm telling you what I heard. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Really, I mean, she would be a perfect Clea Waffles. I totally agree. Lady Gaga doing magic with the white hair and all that cool stuff, people would have lost their minds. But I don't feel like it's, I think Lady Gaga can wait. I think Lady Gaga, Dana O'Leary says she wants Dazzler. Oh, you want her as Dazzler. Maybe Sue Storm, Derek. Maybe Emily Blunt as Sue Storm. Maybe. But, we'll see. I think Emily Blunt has the same ageism issue that Charlize Theron has. I mean, if you can't cast Charlize Theron, how on earth can you cast Emily Blunt? But we'll see what they decide to do. Cesar Coronado, I agree that Victoria Pendretti as Rogue would be amazing. But anyway, that's what I heard. And that's how I put these things together and how I'm tracking the coverage of these stories. All right, so let's get back to Black Widow. All right, so anyway, getting back to Black Widow. So it was reported this morning by MCU Direct that she's going to show up, Florence Pugh, and she's a character that shoots a gun now. I love it. So she's going to show up in Hawkeye, which of course will soon begin filming. I guess that's why Hollywood Reporter didn't mention it in stuff that's filming in 2021, because technically it starts filming in 2020. Ridiculous. That article should have included it. So anyway, and I do wonder about Kate Bishop. I hope there's a Haley Stein. I haven't heard anything about Kate Bishop. I hope there's a Haley Steinfeld story any day now. She is Kate Bishop. To make it without her would be stupid. All right, so anyway, is this double confirmed, Jose? That's very funny. Yes, sometimes I have things that are double confirmed. This is not double confirmed, okay? But I told you I feel so strongly, I know this source so well that I trust it. So I turned to my source because a number of you were asking me about it, and I said, what do you have to say about this? And my source said, oh yeah, Florence Pugh is not only in Hawkeye, but Florence Pugh is also Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I was the first to be able to report. So again, thanks to my source, very grateful for that. So that though, again, you get these pieces of the puzzle and you can start to put it together. That's what's really fascinating about the scoop game, right? Because we've been asking ourselves, we'd be like, why on earth would you take so long to release Falcon and the Winter Soldier? We guessed that it had something to do with Black Widow. We were like, I think they need to release Black Widow first. But that's more along the lines of like the espionage angle and Black Widow, Natasha with Bucky and Sam Wilson. But I don't think any of us assumed that Yelena would be the character, because some of us thought she was going to die because the vest showed up in Infinity War, right? So that was like, and we were like, maybe that was Natasha's ode to Yelena. That was, I think, a legitimate, realistic guess. And then also, I think that we didn't know, I also can't believe nobody spotted her on set. That's unusual. You would think that, and also, you can see, there are a lot of leaks these days. Falcon and Winter Soldier is almost entirely filmed. It's impressive they were able to keep this under wraps. So again, kudos to my source for being able to give me the heads up on this. Now, I think that the August date that was in that leaked teaser for Disney Plus suddenly starts to make a little bit more sense, right? That they're like, oh, okay, we need to give a little bit of time and Black Widow needs to come out first. And they have other programs, they also need to come out first. So it's really, really interesting. Now, it's funny, a different Black Widow will be in the Hawkeye show. The Hawkeye show on Disney Plus. Hawkeye, of course, has a history with the character, not just in the MCU with Budapest. Will we ever know what happened in Budapest? Depending on how you want to pronounce it. But then also in the comics, Black Widow and Hawkeye, that was one of the first people that Natasha interacted with when she was a villain. She's never really been villainous in the MCU. I would like Florence Pugh's Yelena to be somewhat villainous, as she was in the comics. She was the evil Black Widow, which would be cool. I would love Black Widow to be more of a Loki, more of a wild card. Now, some people have said, oh no, I'm not ready for Yelena to replace Natasha. I'm not ready to say goodbye to Scarlett Johansson. You're not necessarily saying goodbye to Scarlett Johansson. Hey, Michael Antonucci, thanks for joining. Just because Florence Pugh's role is expanding does not mean that Scarlett Johansson is totally going away. And the reason I say that is because I think it's more, first of all, if the Black Widow movie is successful, Marvel will find a way. I thought quite a brilliant way to bring Gamora back from the dead, a way that was so organic and so well done that I didn't think it was cheating at all. I was like, that was great. So I think that at some point, not today, not tomorrow, well, she still has this movie coming out, but after that, I think Scarlett Johansson could return. As Kevin just said, there's no death in comics. I think that Tony Stark could return. I mean, heck, if Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield can return, which now everyone's saying, I was the first person to bring it up, now everyone's talking about it. All the scoopers are well, no one, a lot of scoopers are hinting at it. Most of them are reluctant still to actually say it, but I said it. And so if those characters can come back, these other ones can come back. Don't worry about it, especially if there's a multiverse. So Scarlett Johansson's not off the board. I see this more as growing the vertical for Black Widow, just as Captain Marvel's vertical is growing. Just as, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show itself is an expansion of the Captain America vertical. This is just really... And I think you should expect to see more Black Widows popping up. I'm so excited about the movie to see all these cool Black Widows. I love the diversity in the Red Room that they've shown in the trailers. I would love to see another Black Widow also of color. I think that would be just really wonderful. Hey, Anna, thanks for joining a live stream today. I think that would be fantastic. I would love to see Black Widows popping up all the time. Remember how happy we were when a Black Widow showed up in Agent Carter? We were like, that's the coolest thing ever. I would love to have a ton of Black Widows, so I'm very excited about that. I feel that Yelena is really Natasha's Bucky. And what do you know? There she is on Disney Plus next to Sebastian Stan. Now, as Florence Pugh, who is Oscar nominated, by the way, Pugh, is she really a streaming actor? I mean, I think before WandaVision blew up like gangbusters, you would have said no. You would have been like, don't be downgrading Florence Pugh like that. But I think now that WandaVision's such a huge hit, I think Florence Pugh will be great. I think she'll be a real boon to both these shows. And I saw someone tweeted me and said, Grace, do you think that there's a chance that this means that Florence Pugh will stop making small films? I mean, Scarlett Johansson didn't. She made a lot of great movies. In fact, she started to work with Taika Waititi on Jojo Rabbit because of the Marvel connection. So all these Marvel people want to go do other exciting, cool stuff. So Florence Pugh will be no different. In fact, Florence Pugh's circle of friends will only expand. So I'm very happy for her. And as I also tweeted to that person, she's, yeah, right, Logan, Scarlett Johansson did Marriage Story, which was fantastic, with Kylo Ren. And everyone laughed about how Black Widow and Kylo Ren were getting a divorce. I love that we always talk about these movies by their franchise characters. It's hilarious. And that helps these movies. People watch them because we love the characters. And Florence Pugh is right now in the middle of shooting Don't Worry, Darling, which is like a fun little movie that Olivia Wilde's directing. And of course, Olivia Wilde is also going on to do Spider-Woman. So it's all cool. Just like streaming has become a part of the fabric of entertainment, so have blockbusters. And I think people, it's the old one for me, one for them. But I don't think it's that way anymore. I think it's now, I think that all actors need a strong franchise to generate interest in their work, and then they can go make the smaller films, and their franchise work brings attention to the smaller films. That's how I see it. I think one for me, one for them is kind of negative. I don't like that way to say it. So anyway, fantastic. All right, so let's go. That's the first story of the day. How do you guys feel? Let's get a little interactiveness in here. How do you guys feel about Florence Pugh being on Disney Plus? Does it increase you wanting to watch those shows? This is actually an all Disney Plus episode today, interestingly enough. Brian, I like moneymakers and passion projects. Although, again, I think that I would hope that these people care very much about the blockbusters they're making as well. Oh, look at everybody excited about this. Yeah, I've never seen so much interest in Falcon and Winter Soldier and Hawkeye. I mean, I don't know. Let's see the rest of the casting. I like the Stanisms on Twitter. Stanisms have gone into hyperdrive. Stanisms have gotten to a level that I think I've never seen before. Hey, Jared. And I'm curious as to how that's going to, hey, Noah Ryan, I'm curious as to how that's going to affect viewership. Like, for instance, The Mandalorian the Stan community is very upset with Gina Carano and a little upset with Rosario Dawson. I don't really totally think the Rosario Dawson thing, that to me, I don't feel is totally legit, although I'm keeping an open mind. I don't want to dismiss anybody's, situation. But it's, we're trying to see how much power the Stans have. The Stans tried to cancel Gina Carano, but so far no cancellation. Although let's see if that rumored Disney Plus show about her ever gets on track. I think she did hurt herself a little bit. I'm sure at the very least she won't start any more Twitter fights. All right, when they get canceled, when they get fired, Gina Carano trending, that's a real wake-up call. At least I would hope so. Hey, Justin Quaylar and Jonas Bolino. Don't get into fights with people on Twitter, man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, man. All right, let's go to the second story of the day. Bam! Oh, boop! I did the wrong thing. Boop! Okay, so anyway, The Mandalorian. So there was a thing, by the way, that came out the other day. It was so funny. So they did a thing on Variety about a survey about the top franchises. And I thought it was ridiculous that The Mandalorian was number 1 and Avengers was number 2. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, either one, the break that Marvel has taken for such a long time has really hurt them. Although they said the survey started in 2019. But still, people talk about Marvel like every freaking day. I mean, I will accept The Mandalorian as second place, but the idea that The Mandalorian is a more solid franchise than Avengers is like ridiculous to me. Like ridiculous. I would say that maybe it was Ahsoka, but that just happened. There's no way that the month-long trial just ended and it messed that up that much. So I thought that was funny. But anyway, The Mandalorian has finally gotten on. Nielsen has finally caught up to the debut of The Mandalorian. So the ratings that we're about to talk about are not about this past Friday's episode. They're about the first episode of season 2. And it debuted. Oh, let me get the image up. I forgot to add it. Hold on. Let me get it. 1 second. Nope, that's not it. Where'd it go? All right. There it is. Hold on. Okay, here it is. I'll cover my face. Sorry. All right, so you can see The Mandalorian. I don't want to totally cover my face. I'm trying to talk to you. All right, so look, there it is. All right, so The Mandalorian is in third place. It's always all Netflix and then one other service. Can we get 2 other services in here? Come on, other guys. Let's do something. All right, so anyway, The Mandalorian was number 3. Although I think it's interesting that they said, how many episodes does it have? 9. And I was like, 9 episodes? It doesn't have 9 episodes. First I was like, are there one more episode than I thought for this season? And then I was like, oh no. They're counting The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 as one juggernaut, which means they're inflating their ratings. So I'm on to you, Disney Plus. I know what you're doing. So, they're putting the 2 on, which I think is like really crazy. So I think that's interesting. So I think that's cheating because I don't think the boys did that, by the way. Oh, if you want to know where this chart is, I'll give you the link, actually. Hold on. It only updated literally after I wrote out and filmed Movie Math. I even checked it this morning. So it was kind of like wonky on its updating. I was like, why would anyone update ratings on a Monday morning? Hold on, here comes the link. If you ever want to see that, there are the Nielsen ratings. All right, so hold on. Let me get rid of that. All right, so those are the Nielsen ratings link. All right, so The Mandalorian cheated, even though the boys only listed its episodes for that season. So kind of uncool. So, but still, it's Disney Plus's first series to reach into the Nielsen ratings. And Mulan did get in there, but only at number 10. It only debuted at number 10, and that's the highest it ever got for 1 week. So it'll be interesting to watch The Mandalorian from week to week and see how it does. But again, keep in mind that maybe they made a mistake here, but I don't think they did. Because it says how many minutes it has. And let me see, what's that? It's too small for me to read here. Minutes and millions. Yeah, so that minutes is off. It's not that many minutes for just one episode for the season. What cheaters. Disney Disney's trending section, I feel, cheats. It's a lot of cheating. All right, so anyway, I don't like the cheating. All right, so other interesting things to point out here. The Queen's Gambit was number 10 the week before, but more than tripled in viewership and shot to number 1 just 1 week later. I think that's incredible. That just goes to show you how that thing took off like a rocket. Then Borat, just 1 week later, has totally fallen out of the top 10, which I think is interesting, which means that maybe Amazon overpaid for it. And Holiday, another movie, popped in. So apparently the Nielsen ratings can only do one movie at a time. I also think it's interesting that The Office is like the only sitcom in the list here, besides Schitt's Creek, but Schitt's Creek has a new season, so I don't think it's totally the same thing. So The Office here, I wonder if The Office will be as popular when it's on Peacock, because I think clearly subscribership numbers are driving this, because where are the other sitcoms? Warner Brothers paid so much money for Friends and Big Bang Theory, and they're not anywhere on here. And I think that's because there's such low subscribership on HBO Max. So I think it's very interesting. Mika, you say Wonder Woman 1984, hold my beer, but let's see. Let's see if there's, we've yet to see an HBO Max show on this list. And they might just not have the numbers to get there. Very interesting indeed. Although, as someone pointed out, there's so much great stuff to watch right now on HBO Max. You have Raised by Wolves, you have The Flight Attendant, and then you have Wonder Woman coming up. So, come on. All right, so anyway. Pastor Madeline says, if all episodes are listed for The Office, why not The Mandalorian? Madeline, that's a fantastic question. I think that's true. I think that for things that are evergreen, it should be all the episodes. But if we're talking about only like a new season, we want to see how it's doing, I think that it should only be the season at hand. All right. Rob, it's still difficult with streaming. These are Nielsen numbers. Nielsen has given, they monitor a certain number of homes and they see what people are watching. So it's the best that we have, to be honest with you. Do I trust it? No, I don't. Do I think it's as strong as box office numbers? I do not. Do I think it's as strong? Even TV ratings are really hard to read because they're like, this is how many people watched, but it's more important how many people were in the 18 to 49 demographic because advertisers value that the most. So you're like, what am I looking at? That's why everybody likes movie box office so much. It's got a number and that's it. It's a really great system. TV is much more complicated, but it's got a much bigger number of people tuning in. So it's an interesting situation. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Now, for the third story of the day, boop, baby. Gugu Mbatha-Raw finally had a bit of luck come her way. Good for her. Gugu Mbatha-Raw's big breakout role, as you might recall, was the movie Belle back in 2013. Now it's been 7 years, and she's still struggling professionally. But she didn't give up. She took Jack Nicholson's advice that he gave to Terry Garr when Jack Nicholson, Terry, an actor acts. And Gugu Mbatha-Raw has just taken the work again and again and again. She's had really small roles. Remember, you blink and you miss her in Beauty and the Beast. But she didn't care. She just wanted to keep working. And as Mika just pointed out, she finally got the morning show, where she didn't get a lot of attention, but she turned out to be awfully important to the first season. She didn't even really get any major nominations for that show, which is unfortunate. But she made an impression. And Reese Witherspoon decided to pay it forward because she is now producing a thriller starring Gugu Mbatha-Raw for Apple TV. So it's a real mixed bag because that means people might not watch it. But anyway, let's talk about what's going on here. But I would like to point out that Gugu Mbatha-Raw is also in the upcoming Loki series on Disney+. So she's really about to have a good run. Now, this show that she's doing is called Surface. It'll be on Apple TV. And just like the morning show was, and it's from High Fidelity co-creator Veronica West, whose own show got canceled off of Hulu, and that also starred an actress of color, Zoe Kravitz. And Zoe Kravitz was, blamed it on, people not wanting to watch a diverse show, but people pointed out that people just didn't really like High Fidelity, so it really wasn't that issue. Zoe Kravitz, of course, had a big boost from Reese Witherspoon's Big Little Lies, and Reese Witherspoon has really jump-started the femme thriller on streaming services. She did Big Little Lies, then she did The Morning Show, and then she did Little Fires Everywhere on Hulu, which I really liked, and which co-starred Kerry Washington. That was fantastic. So now she's doing another one. But the thing is that with all these shows, they've had a white lead, or a white draw. So to have Gugu Mbatha-Raw as the lead is a pretty big deal. So I'm very happy for her. I hope she does a great job. I hope it looks good. They just had The Undoing that Nicole Kidman did on HBO, which was totally a ripoff of Reese Witherspoon's formula. But Nicole Kidman did it very well. And so I think this is great. So I'm very, very happy for Gugu Mbatha-Raw. I think that's great of Reese Witherspoon to produce and not even be in it. And Reese Witherspoon's making so much money. She's filming season 2 of The Morning Show, in fact, right now. But what do we always talk about? Diversify your portfolio. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. It is 6:03. You can ask me anything you'd like until 6:13, and then I must go. Mika said, what did I think of The Undoing's finale thoughts? Well, I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I did think it ended up being a very strong commentary on society. Jack Hannon says, what's your opinion on Punchline, Grace? Punchline, for those of you who don't know, is the Joker's new girlfriend over at DC. I think that she has so much potential, but it has not been realized at all. I think the character is being handled very poorly. I bought the Punchline solo comic a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was one of the worst written things I've ever read. It was just wall-to-wall dialogue, hey K-Laugh, and I didn't think it was particularly interesting. It was too ripped from the headlines about social media manipulation, and I didn't particularly care for it. Justin Quayler says, I've been watching your show for a very long time, and I finally became a member. Oh, that's just so wonderful, Justin. Welcome. Evan Moore says, will Deadpool 3 be rated R for Marvel? People are saying that it will be. I have not had a confirmation that it will be, and I bet you that Disney itself still doesn't even know. I think that they are probably saying that it will be, but I wouldn't be surprised, and this is speculation on my part, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were coordinating it so that it could be on Disney. It could be PG-13 if they wanted it to be. If I were Disney, I would be developing it on 2 tracks. I'd be like, just keep in mind that this would maybe be PG-13. Because I want to have it be able to be in my theme parks. I think that it's a tough call. Vic says, Grace, why is no one watching his Dark Materials? The 2nd season is looking so good. That's a good question, Vic. I think the issue is that I think Lin-Manuel Miranda, unfortunately, outside of Hamilton, is just not a big draw yet. And I also think that the series does not have a very strong hook in terms of fans of the source material. So it's just, they didn't do a good job getting people, and I don't think they ever had it. I think the trailers were poorly cut and that nobody ever really knew what it was about. To me, it looked a lot like The Golden Compass, which isn't it based on that? And The Golden Compass was awful. And I think people remember that. And they're like, I'm not doing this again. I told you my story. I went out to use the ladies' room during The Golden Compass, and I looked back at the theater, and every single person was asleep. And I was like, wow, bad movie. Danny Mayer says, what did you think of The Flight Attendant? Oh, I thought it was great. I know that it's trashy, and I know that Kaley Cuoco's character makes the worst decisions I've ever seen. Like, just the worst decisions ever. Like, you watch it, and part of the interesting thing about it is just how stupid her choices are. But it's kind of, I think, entertaining. I think it's so pulpy, and I love the intro. It's like one of the few shows that I don't fast forward the intro on it. And I just think it's fun. I think Kaley Cuoco is a great actress, and I'm just having a good time watching it. So I like it. Nicholas Bonani, I did see the toy leak for Monica Rambeau, the costume. I don't know if that's correct or not. It's so generic and so looks like her comics, it's kind of hard to feel like that's the costume. Like they could have designed that toy based on the comics and it would also be accurate. So I can't really be like, oh, that's how she's going to look in the show. Oh, look what they did with the character. You're like, yeah, Spectrum wears black and white. Pastor Madeline says HBO Max suggestions of that nudity or gory violence. Raised by Wolves. And also I have to say, there's a lot of sex in Flight Attendant, but really not any nudity. So you can watch that too. Evan says, will Okoye be in Black Panther 2? Danny Guerrero was not name dropped in the Hollywood Reporter article. They just put her in a poster promoting the MCU on Disney+. I mean, they didn't put her in the article for sure, but I mean, how could they? I can't imagine they would be so stupid unless there's like a scheduling conflict. But how do you have a scheduling conflict when you're not shooting? I mean, they said that Black Panther is a 6-month shoot. I think there's no way that Danai Gurira has a 6-month conflict. I'm sure they will find a way to put the character in there. She's incredibly popular. Does Black Panther have maybe too many characters? Maybe. They have a lot of characters they need to service. They need to create like a, oh my God, I forgot their names. The Dora Milaje. They need to create a Dora Milaje Disney Plus show because there's just not any space. Let's see here. Patrick O'Donnell says, do you think there will be a Winter Soldier and Yelena romance? There could be. I mean, there's certainly a history of romance between a Black Widow, Natasha in the comics, and Bucky. I don't know, though. I mean, they're both a little more violent. They're both a little more broken, this Yelena version, it seems, and this version of Bucky. So maybe, I mean, I haven't heard anything about it, but I mean, I think it would certainly make sense. The question is she in the show enough for that to be the case? Bucklina, says Jose. That's funny. I think we could do better on a celebrity couple name, but I like where your head is at. Damon says, will Harley also be in the Snyder Cut? As I tweeted, you might have missed it because it was a reply to someone. Harley Quinn, from what I've heard, will not be in the Snyder Cut. Jose says the opposite of Bucklina would be yucky. But you could put Bucky and Black Widow, maybe. Cole Hamilton, I will review Mank this week because it goes on streaming on Friday. I've run out of time to keep putting it off. Brett D says, do you think that Rian Johnson will make it up to Kelly Marie Tran and cast her as the lead in Knives Out too? I don't know. I think he did not a great job with, I'm blanking on so many names today. What is the name of the actress who was in that? Who is dating Ben Affleck? I need you guys to, I'm just getting a lot of blanks today. You guys are behind me. I have to wait for you to catch up. Ana de Armas. Thank you. I kind of thought her character was a little annoying in Knives Out. So, and she, luckily escaped unscathed. So I would be nervous about Kelly Marie Tran in that situation. I would be nervous about her. I just don't trust Rian Johnson with her. Like, did you see the photo that I put in my review of The Croods 2 of Kelly Marie Tran doing voice work? She looks so slick and gorgeous, and she's looked so fantastic on the red carpets that whenever I see a picture of her looking not great, I'm like, who is responsible for this? It's very frustrating to me. Like the new poster that they did today of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I was like, Rosario Dawson, I don't know why everybody keeps drawing Rosario Dawson as like very thick. Rosario Dawson is like really, really thin. It's like one of her defining characteristics physically. And she was very thin on the show. Like when I saw concept art before the episode aired, I was like, why is everyone acting like Rosario Dawson, like, went on this big, muscle gain? She didn't. So I just didn't like the poster. I don't think it looked anything like how she looked in the show. Jared says, could Falcon and the Winter Soldier be more than one season? Will Bucky and Sam go to the big screen for their next adventure? I like the way you wrote that, Jared. I think, again, I think Kevin Feige has lots of options before him. That's the beauty of the way these studios are setting up their new systems. I think that if the show does I think Bucky and Sam will never go away. Now the question is, will there be a new season of Falcon and Winter Soldier? I think it depends on how popular it is. And I also think it depends on just how crowded Kevin Feige's dance card is. I mean, look how long Captain Marvel has to wait to come back to theaters. That's nuts. Any other studio or any other franchise would have had her come back much faster. But not this one, because Kevin Feige has too much other stuff to do. I mean, it's becoming a bit of a problem. And it's why you're probably not going to see any more solo movies anymore, and any more solo series, because Kevin Feige just needs to get these characters back in the mix. Damon says, have you heard any news on Frozen 3? I have heard they are developing it already. So Frozen 3 is, probably almost, both movies made $1 billion. They're going to make a third movie. Keith says, would you like to see Grogu flashbacks? I would not like to see Grogu flashbacks, to be honest with you. I'm interested in Grogu flash forwards. I'm a little tired. I'm enjoying Baby Yoda, but he can't be a baby forever. I don't want to watch him grow up in real time. I'm ready for him to age up a little bit. Like for season 3, although again, as I reported to you, when is the Mandalorian season 3 going to happen? I think that, again, I think part of what's weighing on the situation is the drama behind the scenes a little bit, and they can take their time because they want to do all these other shows. They want to do Boba Fett, which is apparently filming right now or about to film. They want to do a Bo-Katan show. They have to do an Ahsoka show. So there's a lot of stuff they need to film first. Michael says, will Marvel still release films theatrically? Yes, of course they will. They definitely, you mean like in tandem? Let's see what they say on December 10th. Eventually, everything will go back to normal. I don't know how long that's going to take, but eventually everything will go back to normal. Logan says, is Mando season 3 greenlit? Well, Jon Favreau has said that he's written it, or he's in the process of writing it, but it's not actually begun filming just yet. And they said they instead decided to film. Oh yeah, the Obi-Wan show is coming up. So they have a lot of Star Wars shows in the pipeline. So it could be a while before you see the Mandalorian season 3. And they might be not in a rush to do it because of, again, the situation that's, of what's happening. But they're not going to get rid of Grogu. Where's Grogu going to pop up? Could Grogu, maybe Ahsoka will be like, okay, I'll train him. Send him over to my show. That'd be great. She's like, I totally changed my mind. Hey, Daniel, I'm sorry you only made it the last minute. All right, let's do a couple of quick shout outs. All right, so don't ask me any questions anymore, but tell me where you are, what you're up to. Just give me a little flavor so that I can just call you out. Oh, Jeff, I'm so glad you enjoyed the live stream today. Waffles is eating Chili's on Long Island. Chili's plural. Jose says, I'm supposed to be working right now. You can take a break. Let's see here. I know the feeling. Danny is in Iowa City. Hell's Bells just joined. What a great name. You're going to stand out. Cameron Cox is wrapped in a blanket at my desk in Provo, Utah. Oh, that's lovely. Evan Moore says, leaving now to eat dinner. Bye, everyone. Bye. Let's see here. Joshua Selig says, chili in the UK. Derek P. says, eating cookies in Louisiana. Boy Without a Parachute says, working in Atlanta. Dancing Dog 60 says, warming up leftover turkey in Boston. Madeline is sitting by the fire while it snows. Oh, that's wonderful. How can I compete with snow? Dancing Dog 60 says, warming up leftover turkey in Boston. Oh, I love it. Carlos is having some McDonald's. Samir is going to school in Hong Kong. Hello to you on the other side of the globe. Keith is doing some Ahsoka artwork on his iPad, your new iPad that you got for your birthday. Rashad is eating Oreo cereal, enjoying my day off in Las Vegas with this wonderful stream. Oh, I'm so glad I could keep you company. Hey, Chic Ba, thanks for joining. Let's see here. Martian says, in London, just put up my Christmas tree. Fantastic. Mine's up as well. Brian says, enjoying doing nothing in Austin, Texas. Oh, that's fantastic. And Jared says, I'm in LA taking a break from a 30-page final project. Uh-oh, that's a big deal. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me on today's live stream. We had a great big crowd. Thank you so much. And I'm going to actually probably do the live streams now around 5 o'clock. So tomorrow's live stream will also be around 5 p.m. All right, everybody, see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye, everyone.